Hello VC, Big Star 1000, Revolutions number 45. I hope everyone's well and thank you for your comments and interactions as per usual. I try to reply to every comment whenever possible. So without further ado, I will start this installment. And I have 20 odd records, CD there, just the usual fare. I'm going to start with the records that I left off my Gimme 10 1971 because this past week, I've been really involved in listening to those 1971 records. It's actually it's, it's a really cool thing to do in terms of revisiting a collection, to just focus on something like a year like this and you just hear and you get a sort of a sense of the sound of the year, and there's it just makes you revisit some really classic records and some masterpieces. And so I left off some really big records. I mean, if you watch my Gimme 10, you would have seen which records I've included. But for example, I had to leave off Tribute to Jack Johnson, which in my opinion is just about the best 70s Miles record there is. I think in some ways superior to Bitches Brew, in the sense that it's short, actually gets to the point, and it's very driving. The mood is very, especially the work of John McLaughlin on this is just nothing short of stellar. It's a brilliant record and really has been my favorite Miles, uh, Electric Miles overall. But because of the nature of 1971 and how many great records there were, and due to the fact that I included Bitches Brew in 70 already, I decided to leave this up. But I played it and fresh as ever. What a record! It is just a smoking record. And it's back sleeves, US pressing. Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, John McLaughlin, Steve Grossman, Billy Cobham, Michael Henderson. Yeah, a top class record. Another key record from 1971, that I left off. Really, why? Is the splendid Maggot Brain by Funkadelic, which is on West Band Records. With its really amazing back sleeve. This is an amazing record, really. It's a masterpiece. I mean, it's very famous for the opening track, Maggot Brain, title track, in where Eddie Hazel, the guitar player, just lets loose, Hendrix style. More Hendrix than Hendrix himself, almost you could say. But the whole album is just it is an amazing. Like the first track on side two, Super Stupid, is classic Funkadelic if you've ever heard it. So I played this and I've really enjoyed it, and I almost included in my top 10 1971. But in the end, space is space, and space was at a premium. Another record that I gloriously omitted from that list, and I was so close to putting this in as the epic flower traveling band Satori, which is really one of the best sort of heavy psych. This is the illegal Phoenix reissue, unofficial you would say, but am I going to fork out $100 to get an original of this? Probably not. Um, would I like to? Probably, but I just don't have that kind of cash to spare. So this does fine. Um, there's an argument sometimes for not buying an original because it's just out of my price range, of people's price range. This is an absolutely amazing heavy psych record. I mean, in a sense, once you've heard Black Sabbath's first two records, you know, you could argue that you don't really need to listen to this because they're just aping Black Sabbath. But I think that this one is a notable exception. It's a very, very close contender. 1971 from Japan, a Flower Traveling Band. And the first two, three tracks are just nothing short of monster, really. Here's another record that I've omitted from my 1971 shortlist. Yes, I mean, you know, you should pray. How could you do this? Well, I could. Not that I wanted to, really, but in my very first VC video 6 years ago, I talked about Stormcock, and I still love it, but I don't know. I just needed to put other records on my list. This is an original UK press, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. It's got a textured cover, and it is on the old Harvest. What to say about Stormcock, except from the fact that it's just from start to finish a masterpiece. Every song is so elegantly crafted, and it's just a beautiful record. I mean, of its time, for an English record like this, it's I don't know. I played it this week, and again I was blown away by this. Two more from 1971 that I left off. Now here is one of my favorite French records of all time, Léo Ferré, La Solitude. Léo Ferré is really a true poet, a true wordsmith, and a politically conscious one. Very, very much socialist communist, and in 1971, so he had a career already by 1971. You can see that he's not the youngest of men, and in 1971 he decided he wanted to make a rock record, something like that was he wanted to maybe get in touch with the younger audience, and so he was thinking of making a record with the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Oh, this is serious. He was intent on doing that, but in the end, he ended up with French band Zo, who are basically the French Blood, Sweat and Tears, if you like, to give you a point of comparison. It's a horn rock band, with psychedelic leanings, but largely you get sort of jazz rock, horn rock, Chicago, Blood, Sweat and Tears. That's the sort of that great band, absolutely fantastic band. And some of you at the VC have the Zoo record, the debut album, as I do have too. It's fantastic. So he made this record, and basically what we got here is a mix between poetry, spoken word poetry, and jazz rock, and it is just the most heartfelt, most moving, amazing, dynamic record that it's brilliant. It's one of my favorites, and it may not appeal to you in terms of if you're a non-French speaker. It may not, appeal to you in the same sort of as much as it does to me. But I'll tell you, it's one of my top 10 French records for sure. There's no question. And finally, the last record from 1971 that I considered was this fella Ransom Kuti and Africa 70 with Ginger Baker live. It's a great record. This is on celluloid. Just an amazing African Afrobeat workout recorded live. I don't know what else to say about this record. It is really, it's superb, really. It's just a great record. But again, I didn't really have the space for it, so there you go. This is a record that Chris from 127 Basket sent me recently in a VCLT. I talked about it quite a bit, and I played this today. Really, really enjoyed it. Les plus grands artistes du monde arabe, with Farid El Atrash and also Saba. So Farid El Atrash is a Lebanese singer, and so is Saba, and there's other people there who I'm not necessarily most familiar with. But I tell you what, this is a fantastic compilation. Oh my word, Christophe, you really killed it with this. It's an it's a great, the sounds, especially the very first song. Farid El Atrash singing Habina, I presume that's how you say it. Is the instrumentation is, you know, it's got this sort of electronic feel, like Arabic electronic feel. It's it's killer. It's top class. Um, this blew me away today. I actually couldn't believe that I bought this. I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. I don't remember. Discogs could probably tell me if I was looking into it. Uh, I bought this and sort of played it once or twice. You know what it is, and then I put it in my box. You know, in the racks. And today I was looking through my Latin. I've got this Latin box, and I thought, oh, yeah, I haven't played this for a while. Afro Temple by Sabu Martinez, percussionist. And this is killer. This is really this is killer. If you see this, don't hesitate. It's a superb record. I think it was recorded in Sweden from memory. That's a Swedish recording, but it's Latin jazz, beautiful Latin jazz. It's fantastic. So highly recommend it. From Sweden to South Africa, here is a great South African jazz record that I was playing this week. This is Chris McGregor's Brotherhood of Breath on Sound Vision. This is the inside sleeve. So yeah, Chris McGregor is a South African. What does he play? Piano player. Yes, that's right. And on this, you've got basically the Blue Notes, Mangezi Feza on trumpet, Dudu Pokwana on alto sax, and you got other key players like Alan Skidmore and John Sermon is on there as well. So it's kind of like an Anglo South African jazz classic, really. This was released in 1970, I think. Yes, very, very cool record. Brotherhood of Breath. If you don't know, just check it out. Chris McGregor. Here is a record that I got a week ago, 2 weeks ago, perhaps. It's interesting because I ordered this LP, and this is really quite a bizarre coincidence. I ordered this LP, and then Alan Vega died. It's bizarre. Or, around the time that my order was being processed, he died. Like something like I didn't order it after he died. It was this is the second Suicide record, which is was produced by his Martin Rev, Alan Vega, rest in peace. This is a record that was produced by Rico Kasich from The Cars. So it's got a different feel. It's been reissued by Superior Viaducts this year. So this is a new record in my collection there. And I really like it. It's got really, very, very different from the previous, the first Suicide record, basically, but it's more poppy and it's got a more poppy feel. Some French progressive music. Laurence Vanet. She she's the wife of Laurent Thibault, who was in Magma. And this is very hard to classify as like folk prog, a little bit Canterbury style as well. It's a bit of everything. It's top class. This record, Laurence Vanet. It's called it's called it's got a name, Galaxies. Galaxy. There you go. Really, really highly recommended. Came out last year, sort of was reissued last year by Line Production, which is affiliated with Lights in the Attic. Okay. This is a great Johnny Mitchell that I played only one side of because I just didn't have the time, but I did play it. This is Don Juan's Reckless Daughter. Don Juan, which features Jaco Pastorius and Herbie Hancock? No, who is on this? Jaco Pastorius? No, Wayne Shorter. Sorry, excuse me. Not Herbie Hancock. It's really, 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 really great Johnny Mitchell record. Nothing else to say. It's beautiful. I'm just trying to push forward because I don't want to keep you here forever. Next. Okay, let me drag them out. Next, early last week I played the Red Crayola, which is the band led by Mayo Thompson, avant-garde musician from I think it was in Texas. The Red Crayola. This is the Parable of Arable Land, an album that I've had for years and years, but I just only occasionally pull that. It's funny because it's a 1968 record sort of thing, or 68 or something like that, but it sounds like a post-punk record at times. It's kind of classic. It's a beautiful record. These two there, I showed you last week in Revolution last week. But it stayed in my crate. So I mean, watch the last week's installment, and you can. And these two, I was waxing lyrical about Life Tones. I'm not going to talk about them. You've heard about them. Now this is a very, very nice French singer-songwriter record, Gilles Elbaz, Le Vent aux Ailes, which I found in Brussels last year in this shop called Vils and Geeks. This is superb. It's like imagine a Jacques Brel record in terms of the lyrical content and the voice, but then he's got Siegfried Kessler on, who plays electric piano, and then also the flute, organ, and he plays also harpsichord. So you've got this sort of slightly funky undertone to the sort of French chanson. It's beautiful. It's really well done. There's not many examples of music of that style. It's because usually it's either traditional or you get funky French music, but this is kind of like a crossover track. If I had the time, I'd play you a tune from this or two. It's a beautiful record. Gilles Elbaz, Le Vent aux Ailes. And finally, two more records. I'm not going to show you the CD. It's just going for too long. I played my copy of Solid State Survivor by the Yellow Magic Orchestra. I've spoken about Yellow Magic Orchestra before. They're a VC kind of staple. This is probably one of their best albums, maybe even their best albums. Again, the Kraftwerk reference is not a bad reference point. If you like Kraftwerk, you'll probably like this. They're related in some way. They're not copies of each other. They're related though. And finally, something a bit more pedestrian. I'm sorry, I'll close this video with an album that's when I was 15 years old, even earlier, when I was 14, 15 years old, up to when I was, in my very early 20s, I was a mad U2 fan. I still am. I mean, they're the first band that just got me into music, basically, Before U2, I was listening to nothing. You know, U2 came along, and well, I discovered it, and I, I became a serious music listener. Now, U2 these days is not something that I would listen to, like the new stuff, but I still love their old stuff. You know, it's nostalgia after all. And I've been playing Rattle and Hum a few times last past few weeks. I know it's not a really, it was canned when it came out, but I just really still love it. But again, it's nostalgic more than anything, and it's funny because I really love at the moment this song called Heartland, which is on this song there, which is um, on side 3. Heartland. It's just a beautiful song. I really like it. So rattle and hum to finish off this video. Okay, VC. I hope that's 23 minutes. That's okay. It's not too bad. Just I ramble and talk and talk. You should shut up. That's all. Leave me some comments and I'll reply. I will.